Hiya and welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Liverpool Transfer Podcast. We're doing this on a Wednesday when we usually do it on a Friday, but there is good reasons for it. And that is because there's been some quite ridiculous news in the past 24 hours. One which I cannot believe or fathom, which I'm pretty sure you all know who I'm talking about. We'll get to that in the second part of the show. But to facilitate that move, you'd imagine that we need to generate some money. So we're going to talk about, in the past 24 hours, the news that's came out amongst some of the players who Liverpool might be looking to sell. Let's start with Luis Diaz. I'm joined by Ste and I'm joined by Dan. I was going to say as always, but it feels like I'm always joined by you and sadly not always joined by you.
Sadly is correct.
Yeah. Oh well. We've got 11 days of sadly seeing each other every single day. I think we can deal with it. Luis Diaz then, Ste. We did a breaking news reaction show yesterday, but you were hosting, so everyone had to listen to my views and not yours, sadly. That is also sadly. But Bayern Munich submitted an official bid to sign Luis Diaz. The proposal was worth €67.5 million. It was rejected immediately by Liverpool. They value him at €100 million plus. And they've informed suitors that there is no plan to sell. The Colombian international, however, has told Liverpool that he wants to leave. First of all, are you surprised that any movements came in for Diaz?
No, it's been coming for a while, hasn't it? It's been obvious, his entourage and all the news is about, it's mainly been about Barcelona. The Bayern Munich stuff obviously is relatively new, although we don't know what Barcelona can and can't afford, that kind of stuff. So no surprise that people have come in. I suppose I don't know if it's the surprise, but the biggest piece I took from that was that he wants to leave now.
Yep.
There's always been his comments while on international duty were, we're having conversations, but I'm happy. He by all accounts would like him to sign that new contract. The only thing, again, and this is a lot of dot connecting, and I might be completely wrong on this, is that he's actually been now told that contract's not coming, and then he's gone right there, well, I want to leave. That feels like maybe I'm connecting a few dots there. So the number in terms of what Bayern have bid is too low. I think Liverpool probably aren't going to get that. Again, pounds, let's talk pounds, like £85 million, isn't it? Roughly €100 million. Yeah. So can they get that? Maybe they think they can. I don't know, but yeah, I took more significance in the fact that he's pretty much made it known that he wants to go now. And Liverpool have a history, again, of playing hardball with sales, but also, do you want to keep a player who doesn't want to be there anymore? It's a difficult one for everyone concerned, but I don't think Liverpool need to sell Luis Diaz to get the money to sign other players. I don't think that's where they are. I think by all accounts Liverpool are in decent position. I saw Dave Powell's PSR tweet suggesting as such. So this one to me more feels like the fellas, by the fella I mean Luis Diaz and his camp wanted that new contract. It's not forthcoming, therefore they've gone elsewhere to offer him to other clubs.
Do Liverpool have to compromise, or are they in the driving seat? Because it's clear that they don't think he's... I said this yesterday, if he's €100 million player, why aren't you signing him to a new contract? There's clearly something there that Liverpool don't like, or don't think he might reach the heights that they want, or there's better players on the market. So, have we got to compromise? Because there's 2 years left on his deal. If you're not offering him a new deal, he now wants to leave and he's unsettled. What do Liverpool do?
No, it's a complicated one. It's a difficult one, actually. And it's hard to make sense of Liverpool's stance, I think, in many ways. It looks like Liverpool are just putting up that firm, we believe he's worth €100 million, and that's that, essentially. And I mean, maybe they are trying to sort of drive interest from potentially Saudi Arabia, which we know they've sort of had a look at Luis Diaz in the past, and drive the price up that way closer to their valuation of him. But I am intrigued by, and you mentioned it there, obviously the unwillingness to offer him a new deal, seemingly. There's been sort of muted conversation previously, but that's gone very, very quiet. It looks like Liverpool aren't going to do that now at all. And I think when you look at his performance and his output, he probably does warrant a new deal. But then look at his age profile and sort of what you're getting in terms of what your outlay is. I think Liverpool are smart and savvy enough just to sit there and go, if we can keep getting this from Luis Diaz on the wage he's on with 2 years left, then why wouldn't we do that, essentially? So, yeah, I'm intrigued by the Luis Diaz situation, saga, if you like, as Steve rightly mentions there as well. The interest being from Bayern Munich is different, but there was always going to be offers forthcoming for Luis Diaz this summer. That was inevitable, it felt like, given the contract situation and given the performances and given the fact he's never really... I think he hit the ground running at Liverpool and really sort of took the show by storm. We feel like everyone went, wow, Luis Diaz is boss. But it hasn't really happened since. There's been flashes here and there, but he's never sort of made himself a mainstay. Cody Gakpo's come in and took minutes off him as well on the way. But the fact now, we're hearing for the first time from David Ornstein as well that Luis Diaz is keen to leave. That changes the landscape somewhat, because all of a sudden Liverpool might have to compromise. Liverpool might have to look at it and go, whilst we want 85, we're only getting offers of 60 and just like less than 60 from Bayern Munich. We might have to meet in the middle and get the 70, 75. And if Liverpool can do that, whilst we are in a very strong PSR position, Kim Maguire, David Powell have both said that, you can't really look 70 million in the face to a player that wants to leave and turn it down, in my opinion.
See, I think he's really good. I know I've said this before. I think I'm the highest in this office on Luis Diaz. I agree. I think he's brilliant. But, and you mentioned who's got the power or whatever, Chloe, or like Liverpool, like he has got 2 years left on his contract. If Liverpool want to, they can just say, you're not going. Suck it and see it, basically. You know what I mean? Like, have a Corbin if you want.
That's detrimental to the squad. It might be, if he is keen to go.
They did this before, though. They did this with, again, different circumstances, maybe. But like Phil Coutinho didn't go originally. They were like, no, you're not going. End of story, you're staying. And Phil Coutinho stayed for 6 months, was excellent. And then eventually, Liverpool got the kind of money they wanted for. So, Liverpool don't have to sell Luis Diaz. Now, this is Arne Slot. It might be different. Arne Slot might just go, don't want him. Not having him. I'm not having someone who's kicking off. We don't know how Luis Diaz is acting around the group. There's lots of dynamics here we don't know, but this isn't like a lad who's going into his final year and it's either sell him now on the cheap or you lose him for nothing. That isn't where Liverpool are at. They're paying him a modest wage. He isn't on rubbish wages apparently, but he's on a fairly okay wage and he's under contract for a year. So if they want to, they're well within their rights to go to Luis Diaz and his entourage and his our fella and say, like, we're not selling you. You either get on with it for a year and then we'll cross this bridge in a year's time. Yep. Or we'll go with that, because I think that money, the number that's out there now in terms of the big fee, suggests maybe they are willing to do a deal. But it has to be on their terms. It's not like, every player's got a price. You could bid. There'll be a number for every single Liverpool player that you could get them for. Now, for some of them, it might be crazy astronomical where it's just never going to happen. But if their number for Luis Diaz is around 80 million quid, I don't think it's unfeasible for a team to come in and pay 80 million pounds for Luis Diaz. I think you might get close to it. You might not get exactly there, but
can I stop you and ask how much Kvaratskhelia was?
Yeah, he went for just over 70 in the end.
Right,
just shy
of. So I'd be absolutely made up with 70.
You will struggle on that point. You will struggle to get anything close to 80 million in Europe. That's where the Saudi Arabia market has to come in.
I agree. I mean, you can say to Luis Diaz, you can go, mate, but you're going to Saudi Arabia if you, because and then it's on. There's a balance to be had. Liverpool are using Bruno Fernandes, £100 million as their valuation. They're saying similar age to a Saudi club. They were going to pay that for him. Luis Diaz, we think, is worth as much. Whether you agree with that or not, I don't know. You look at the winger market now. Madueke going for around 50 million quid. Luis Diaz is miles better than him. I know there's an age thing and an English tax on that you've got to... So all these factors come into play. The main story here is we have never seen what Arne Slot is like with a player who doesn't want to be here, because it hasn't happened yet. And then how Liverpool act in this situation, it's going to be fascinating because you're going to have to replace him. And I know we're being linked with replacements that we'll touch upon later. I think you'd be hard pressed to get £70 million and then buy a player who is better than Luis Diaz for that. You might buy a player who's younger and maybe with more to come, and maybe that's the way you square that. But yeah, the way the market is at this moment in time, it'll be fascinating to see how Liverpool go about this. Yeah, it will be.
I think, I don't know about you, Dan, but 70 mil to me seems a reasonable price, and I don't think it's in between what Liverpool probably want and what Bayern are willing to pay. The problem you have is if Liverpool want any more than that, then you're looking at Saudi. But if Luis Diaz is being offered an offer to go and play for the Bundesliga champions, and this all depends once again on how people view the Saudi league, because at first everyone saw the money. And now I think people are starting to realise that people are fleeing Saudi because people don't go really to watch it, and it's not as competitive as people want it to be. So it's tough for Luis Diaz as well, because Liverpool might be basically saying to him, Saudi's the only place you can go, but he might actually want to stay and challenge and win Champions Leagues, potentially stay in Europe and win the Bundesliga, which is a trophy, but not to me in my eyes, because I'm not in the Bundesliga. But he might want to stay in Champions League football.
He may well do. Yeah, he may well do, and that will sort of depend on his wants and needs and aspirations when it comes to his own footballing career and journey. Obviously, he's achieved a hell of a lot already. It's interesting in Saudi Arabia, so obviously, because we've seen sort of a mini exodus in recent times from there, including his compatriot John Duran, who went there for about 5 minutes, and now he's left as well. There tends to be quite a big appeal to go over there for generally, but certainly for South Americans, it feels like. So I imagine Luis Diaz will have sort of countenance and will have sort of maybe had a thought or two about the potential of that move. I know him and Darwin Nunez discussed it recently on like a fun type podcast thing. They made like a joke with the Saudi Arabia money. Who knows? It may well tempt him. But yeah, for Liverpool, I do think we are waiting for Saudi money, personally. On Diaz, I can't help but think. Like, I don't think we're going to get anything like the money that we want from Europe anymore. Bayern Munich aren't going to stretch any further. Because whilst we celebrate Liverpool being savvy and really sort of steadfast in our demands, whether it be selling or buying, and we don't pay over the odds for players, generally speaking, Bayern Munich aren't too dissimilar. Like, they went really sort of all out to get Harry Kane. This isn't that to them. This is Luis Diaz. Very good, Luis Diaz. I think he's upgradable, personally. I think you can get better. I think you can get better and younger, potentially, as well, for the similar sort of fee. So, really interesting to see how it pans out. I really struggle to see a world where we keep him and he doesn't want to be here. Because Arne Slot would want all hands on deck, go and defend this title. Even the slightest suggestion that players are unsettled and not happy, and we can get good money for them, I'm always in the camp of letting them go.
It's worth mentioning, though, Chloe, as well. First of all, your first point, if he wants to win Champions Leagues and leagues, let him stay at Liverpool. That option's there for him, because that's what Liverpool are going to try and do. Second of all, I don't think Liverpool, it doesn't appear like Liverpool are going to say to him, you're not going no matter what. Because the stance has been he's not for sale, but now all of a sudden these reports coming out. It feels like there's a price out there. So Liverpool's conversation to Luis Diaz can be very, very simple. If Bayern Munich want you, mate, they can have you, and you can go to Bayern Munich or you can go to Barcelona, but it's going to cost them this much, and then you're not blocking them from going. It becomes a different scenario then.
I suppose the other thing is that Barcelona nearly won the Champions League last year. So if we're actually upgrading your team, who you could potentially face in the Champions League, why strengthen a rival for a cheaper price? I guess.
Why do you think he wants to go? Sorry, why do you think? Because new challenge? Are we talking about?
I think it's the money. I think it's contract related. It feels like. Again, I had this clarified because I put a tweet out and I had it clarified. I said this yesterday. I did say this yesterday was. He isn't on horrendous money, but he maybe wants to be on more money. And also, he's got 2 years left. This is his last chance to get that bumper pay deal, really, isn't it? Unless it becomes the Saudi Arabia thing. So it feels contract related, whether that's money related or length. Because it can't be about playing time because he played every game. It can't be about winning stuff. Just done it. So it's got to be a contract situation.
And he seems genuinely happy. Like often you see like players who are unsettled in a new country, and that's never been the case with Luis Diaz, has it?
It doesn't appear that way. It just feels like whether he's only got 2 years left and he wants that deal, or actually I'm on X but I want to be on Y. It could be either of those things. It can't be about playing time or not getting a game or something because he plays all the time. Yeah,
James Pearce has reiterated that Liverpool are adamant that the Colombian is not for sale. But once again, this could just be a raise your bids, people. Bild have came out and said Vincent Kompany has had a video call with Luis Diaz. The Colombian has said yes to buying and informed Liverpool of his desires. The clubs will have to agree a fee. So, let's see if teams will compromise, buying, compromising, going up, Liverpool coming down. Does this create a problem for Liverpool that they just don't need, though, in terms of we've already done so much in the transfer window? We already know that there's other positions there that we need to strengthen, including, number 9 and a centre-half. Is then throwing a left winger in the mix just creating so much more for us? Or?
I think there was definitely scope to have that conversation at the start of the summer, for example, because you looked at a few different positions. We need to upgrade there, need to upgrade there, need to do that, etc., etc. Liverpool would have had a game plan and a strategy, but it feels like nothing's off the table now when it comes to Liverpool. Because if we're willing to, we had this conversation around Joel Quansah, very similar, a fortnight ago, about if we sell Joel Quansah, we are just adding to our work and Richard Hughes' sort of to-do list. Doesn't seem to faze Liverpool right now. We're in such a position of strength, such a healthy situation, sort of recruitment-wise, backroom staff-wise, obviously certainly on the pitch-wise, that nothing seems to faze us. we go, well, we'll just adapt and move with the times. If Luis Diaz comes to us and says he's desperate to leave, and we receive an offer that's suitable and we deem acceptable, then we'll just let Luis Diaz go, and we'll go and strengthen with somebody else. We'll find a different target, a different player. If somebody else falls off the market because they move to XYZ club, Liverpool seem so at ease and so calm, whereas every other club in Europe seems to be panicking left, right, and centre, that I don't think anything really matters to us anymore. And that, to me, Liverpool under Michael Edwards' sort of time at the football club have always acted superbly well. Best in class, gold standard, however you want to describe it. This is this, and then some. We're going to speak later on about potential incomings, like what a level that is, you know what I mean? But now, even in terms of the outgoings, nothing that happens this summer, unless you are talking seriously silly situations like deadline day, somebody massive turns around and goes, I want to go. That's hard to bend and flex to. But right now, there's so long left in the summer that I think this could really happen and we'll be okay with it.
And I think also, like Liverpool, again, there's no, and it's a bit like Alex Isak to Newcastle, right? From Newcastle, right? You don't have to sell him. There's no desire to. So you can make sure you've got your replacement lined up, and you can make sure you're getting the fee that you want and all your ducks in a row before you do it. So again, we're going to speak about left wingers later on. It might be just Liverpool doing that. Usually when Liverpool say a player's not for sale, they tend not to sell them. It's worth mentioning. Like, very rarely do they change their mind. So we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, the unhappy player one is the main.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does Arne stop? What does he think? You know what? Just get rid of him. He's not that good. I can do without him. Or actually, he is fundamental to what I want to do. Yep. Can we chat him round? Can we talk to him? Can we sweeten him? Can we give him an extra year on his deal and maybe sweeten that pie? We'll see how Liverpool play it. But it does feel like, yeah, the timing of this with him wanting to go now is a new wrinkle in the whole thing where it wasn't a few weeks ago. It just felt like he was just wanting more money. Now it looks like he wants to leave the football club. Yeah,
it does. So therefore, I'm putting it on your toes. Is Luis Diaz a Liverpool? I've got a couple of questions here, so don't just jump in. Dan, you can go first, then stay. First of all, will Diaz be a Liverpool player come the start of the season? If not, how much will he go for? Who will he go to? And finally, who's his replacement?
Wow, it's like Cluedo.
Good lord. Okay.
It was Dr. Peacock.
Well, I could just say,
with the candlestick and
I could just answer yes to the first one, and the next few irrelevant, aren't it? No, but I won't do that. I'll play the game. I'll say no. I do think he will go. And to Steve's point earlier on, I said it when the news first broke yesterday. The fact now we know he wants to leave changes everything for me. So I think he'll leave. I think Liverpool will get 75 million,
I'd
possibly
be happy
80
with that.
for him. I would as well, for what it's worth, because I think we'll reinvest it brilliantly. I think he goes to one of the Saudi clubs. Do we need to pick one? Or can I just say one of the Saudi clubs? Because it's all much with all due respect, in terms of how they spend the money.
Don't they pass the money?
There's 4 PIF clubs and they can, so whoever needs him, essentially. And what was the final? Oh, who do we replace him with? Good lord. Let's go with Rodrygo.
I wonder if he's in the second half of this. Stay.
Andy Gordon? No, Rodrygo.
Over to you.
I think he's going to stay. So they kind of...
Oh, never mind then. Bye-bye.
Makes all the rest of it irrelevant.
It does. Before we get into the potential incomings, I've just got an update on Darwin Nunez dead quickly, and that is Napoli have informed Liverpool that Darwin Nunez deal can be considered off. Napoli will sign Luca as new striker, despite Nunez opening the doors to a move, as the fee was considered too high. And we've just been speaking about Diaz and how Liverpool might need to compromise. They didn't compromise over a lad who they clearly would like to not get rid of, but sell more than Luis Diaz. Yeah. So does that slightly worry you?
Well, no, that doesn't worry me now. A lot of the reporting last night actually on Darwin was similar in terms of like he's open to leave and he's keen to go. And the Saudi Arabia situation may well be one that develops in the coming days and weeks now that Napoli are off the table. Yeah, it doesn't concern me necessarily. And Liverpool, we've said it millions of times, have a price and they stick to that price, and the stance is you pay that or you don't. But with Darwin, I don't know, the situation's evolved in such a way in recent times that we are, again, there's so long left in the window, we are quite comfortable with not allowing him to go on the cheap. I think this is probably a smarter move. But I think also we know with Darwin, similar with Diaz, the Saudi interest is there. If there'd been no January bid, we might have had to act differently in this one and maybe just compromise a little bit and bring our price down a little bit. But we're not in a mad rush to sell Darwin Nunez. When the right money comes along and when the situation and the offer is right in terms of him personally as well, I'm sure we will. Yeah. But for now, there's no panic sale of Darwin Nunez going on.
Yeah, also the Saudi Pro League top clubs, which was obviously the ones that you were talking about, have made an initial approach to sign Darwin Nunez. He has been waiting for Napoli for 1 month, however. This is from Fabrizio Romano as well. He said Saudi clubs are prepared to tempt him again now after the deal was closed last January. However, his favourite destination was Napoli. So Darwin's not got the move he wants, but I still think he'll want to leave Liverpool because it just hasn't quite worked out. Ste, do you reckon he'll 100% go?
More likely than not, yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But again, like I say, I think Liverpool are relatively comfortable with the situation. Yep. Again, they'll stick to their valuation. There'll be no panic and they'll try and get what they want for him. So now it's up to Darwin. Does he want to go to Saudi Arabia? It feels like he might be happy to do that, so fair play to him. The club he wanted to go to, I've gone elsewhere and signed someone else, and that's life, unfortunately. Sometimes you've got to just swallow that and find your next best option. So yeah, it feels like he will end up in Saudi Arabia, and I think it probably works out best for everybody. Again, Liverpool have always played this one relatively cool. There's never been with Luis Diaz earlier, he's not for sale, we don't want to sell him. There's not been a single word of Darwin Nunez isn't for sale. That would be out there very quickly if Darwin Nunez wasn't for sale. So obviously there is, again, an expectation that he probably wants to go and that he probably is going to go. But yeah, you're right. From a Liverpool point of view, it probably worked out better. You probably get more money out of Saudis than you will out of Napoli. If it certainly looks that way because Napoli weren't going to pay what you wanted. So yeah, if he's going to go, Liverpool will probably sell to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's mad. I'm seeing quite a lot of people basically saying Nunez, give him another go, which I'm not in that sphere.
I've seen it a lot myself. I'm not in that either for what it's worth. Just because, and I've said this to you guys personally, and I said it on the show the other day, I just think you could have the best pre-season you've ever seen in your life. You could end up with 6 from 4 in pre-season. Exactly. But ultimately, and I hate saying it because I hate being negative about any Liverpool player, but when it comes to Darwin, you might have a brilliant August, but you just know come September, October, you're going to be scratching your head saying, we really should have sold Darwin Nunez. You're just going to get in that situation again because you're going to miss chances, you're going to frustrate the life out of you, he's going to potentially cost you points and cost you wins down the way as well. So, yeah, I think it's best for all parties to your point that he goes.
I wouldn't be adverse. Listen, it's one of them where, again, he only goes if the money's right. He isn't one you're just desperate to boot out the door because you are going to have to replace him. And again, there's chat about that, and it's certainly feasible. And obviously, what's happened in the last few weeks, unfortunately, Liverpool aren't blessed with other options, unfortunately. So it's all in that mix, isn't it? But I understand because I see the people who are saying that. I see the reason why it is very tantalising when you see the best of Darwin Nunez. It is excellent. Yeah. It really is. It just hasn't been enough. So it's whether if Arne Slot thinks I can get the best out of him, I'm willing to give it a go. Fair enough. But by all accounts, if he's for sale, he's for sale. Liverpool are putting him for sale for a reason. We'd have to trust that this manager and this club know what they're doing on that regard.
And if he was not an £18 million player, then maybe Liverpool could get away with it. But sadly, they did invest quite a lot of money on him, and Liverpool will want to try and get that back. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. The best part of the show is coming up. The most exciting part of the show is coming up. We will be speaking about Rodrygo and Alexander Isak. Before we get to the break, I am going to ask you a question you can get in the comment section. Do you think Liverpool will sign either Rodrygo or Isak? Do you think we'll sign both? Or do you think we will sign none?
Hey everyone, it is a new month and the Reds are back in action, and to make it even better, we've got another amazing giveaway over on redmenplus.com. If you are already signed up as a Legend Tier subscriber, you are in the draw to win this beautiful Vladi Smaita, a hero of Istanbul in 2005, signed shirt. But also, if you are not already signed up, you can do so now or upgrade your existing subscription. You get loads of amazing benefits, including Discord access and discount off redmenmerch.com. And as I say, a chance to win this absolute beauty. Get over to redmenplus.com. Do it now.
Welcome back. Let's get to some of your comments then. Adam said, yes, we will sign. Isak, I can't. Every time I say Isaac or Isak. Mark says neither. I don't like that. I'd like both, please. Daryl, There we go. Daryl says both.
Be more Daryl and less Mark.
He's fun at parties, Daryl.
Just in life, there's a life motto I'm going to go by. Just be more like Daryl and less like Mark. Be optimistic. Optimism's fun.
No channel available has said Rodrygo, but not Isak. We've got one of them. Choose your pick. One of them, yes. Both can't. I mean, he's put say, but I'm assuming that means see. Can't see it happening. Yeah. I think we will sign Isak. Mikey said rather Isak and Gahey. Peter Pan, absolutely love that. I said both.
Go ahead, Pete.
Go on, Pete. I'm loving the positivity. Mark said he's back with Rodrygo, possibly Isak too high.
Actually, I don't think the Isak too high thing's relevant at all. Liverpool will spend the money for Isak. It's just, will Newcastle sell Isak is the massive question here.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna leave it up to you. Who do you want to speak about first? Isak. You want to speak about Isak first? Well, I thought you were going to save best to last, but clearly that's now Rodrygo.
Alphabetically.
Now, I put Alexander Isak in big letters, Dan, and then all I did was put wow. I was stunned. I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure you all know who reported it, but Fabrizio Romano first put, Liverpool have made club-to-club approach with Newcastle to discuss record bid for Alexander Isak. Then obviously David Ornstein followed that up and basically said Liverpool haven't submitted a bid, but they've got in touch with Newcastle, belled them up and basically said, we'd be willing to spend in the region of 120 mil. How does that sound to you? I went about life thinking, having a little bit of hope in my heart that this could potentially happen. Never in my life did I think that Liverpool would have the balls to go to Newcastle. How does 120 sound? After you'd just signed Florian Wirtz for a potential 116. I mean, was you as stunned as I was?
Yeah, absolutely. I always hoped and sort of believed that it was a remote possibility, but to see Liverpool going about it and acting like the biggest club, like the most successful club, and like Premier League champions in the market is remarkable, quite frankly. And like I said, to do it after doing the Wirtz deal, and you could add obviously Frimpong and Kirk, as Liverpool has splashed a lot of cash around already, and there's 2 or 3 more absolute definites we need to go and bring in. So to then go and just say to Newcastle, do you know what, whilst we're at it, how about another British transfer record for Alexander Isak, is stunning, stunning business. It's Richard Hughes, it's Michael Edwards, it's FSG, it's Liverpool Football Club, as I say, walking around, chest out, saying, look how big we are, you know what I mean? And I'm here for it all day long. You could certainly make the argument we haven't done that enough in recent years when we've sort of not strengthened from position of strength, but this is in overdrive, isn't it? He is, we've said it loads of times, the dream target. He absolutely is. Liverpool needs number 9. Liverpool needs to upgrade their number 9. Liverpool need more goals from a central position in the attacking line. Who do you go and sign? Who do you want to go and sign? Alexander Isak. Anybody else pales into insignificance. I would even include Julian Alvarez, Hugo Ekitike. I know you wouldn't, Chloe, but that's fine. I think Isak, in terms of goals, in terms of what he brings to Liverpool, in terms of plug and play, ready to go, I'm going to improve you, because there aren't many players that can improve Liverpool side. Florian Wirtz was one of them. Yep. You know, the fullbacks are great, happy days, but Alexander Isak is transformative sign all over again. He's Van Dijk, he's Alisson.
And we didn't play with a number 9, a proper number 9.
Exactly. And I think, but I've always remains steadfast in the belief that Arne Slot wants that, because he's always had that. You turn up at Liverpool, you've got Mo Salah. So much goes through Mo Salah, of course, with this Mo Salah. But I still think he wants more and needs more from his 9. Isak, not only is he goals and goals and goals, he provides assists, he facilitates those around him, he stretches play, he's just a nightmare for defenders. And if you really want to go into sort of the football conversation, the tactic conversation, all of a sudden, if you're a centre-half, you want to concentrate on Mo Salah, but you can't because Alexander Isak's there. My God. But yeah, to come back, get less excited for a moment.
Yeah,
Liverpool doing this sort of thing, and Liverpool even suggesting to Newcastle that we're willing to do this sort of thing. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, Luke Edwards put out a tweet, but also an article saying, that Liverpool's approach for Alexander Isak is the ultimate power move. Now, I 100% agree with that, because Liverpool have done, if we hadn't done as much work in the transfer window as we already had, and not just done that, we've bought basically the best in the business in the positions. We went and got Jeremy Frimpong for a great fee, who's really, people have spoke about him in that Leverkusen side for ages. We went and signed Kerkez, who was the best left-back in the Premier League last season. You then go and sign Florian Wirtz, who's one of the superstars with the greatest potential in world football right now. And what have Liverpool just gone and decided to do? Gone and said, we'd break the records again for the best striker in the Premier League and one of the best in Europe. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it's also in his article, he goes on to say, Liverpool have basically put it on Newcastle's toes of, can you kind of sell us Alex Isak or we'll just sign Ekatike if you want? Now, if you're a Newcastle fan, you're probably thinking there, well, we'd rather you have Ekatike then and we'll keep Alexander Isak, and that would make perfect sense. But all the report now to Newcastle was that they wanted to sign a striker to play alongside Alexander Isak. So are Liverpool, whether you believe that or not, or you're just thinking that again, it's all at play. But effectively, it feels like Liverpool have said to Newcastle, can we have Alexander Isak, or actually we're going to rival you for Ekatike, and we would like to think he would rather join Liverpool than he would probably join Newcastle. I think that's probably fair to say. But no disrespect to Newcastle, fabulous, and Champions League football and pretty good dough, I'm sure they'll pay. Well, Liverpool are the Premier League champions. It is just at the next level up, really, isn't it? So it is the ultimate power move, like I say. I think it was a good line from Luke Edwards in that, yeah, Liverpool are basically putting on Newcastle's toes. I wonder if there's any panic at Newcastle, or they're quite content with it, because very much they hold all the cards on the Isak thing as well. He's got loads of years left on his contract. They do not have to sell that player. Yep. But was Ekatike the replacement, or was Ekatike the plan to play alongside him? And will Liverpool scupper that? There's a lot of moving factors here, but it's fascinating. It really is. My ultimate takeaway on this, Chloe, is that Liverpool don't go to Newcastle with that approach unless they've had some assurance or some nod in the wing from Isak's camp that he'd like to go. Very similar to what Bayern Munich have done there with Luis Diaz. There's no point coming and going, can we have him? And then you think, oh yeah, we'll have him, and then he doesn't want to move. But then you just look like clowns. So obviously, that's my reading of this, that Alex Isak's camp, at least somewhere, has said that they would like to would like to maybe make that move to Liverpool. So yeah, it feels like the ball is very much in Newcastle's court, Alexander Isak's court, in terms of, again, can he kick off? How does he? Yeah. If he wants to move desperately, will he try and make that happen? Yeah, I think Newcastle have found themselves in a situation where, like I say, they hold plenty of the cards. But how are they going to react if one of their best players does say he wants to leave? Yeah,
I'm going to ask you, Dan, in a second, but before that, Sean have LFC secretly won the Euro Millions lottery and not said anything. I'm pretty sure they're rich enough that, they might not even enter that. But if they did and they won a couple of spare, I reckon that's probably what's happened.
We've just been saving up for years, that's all it is. The piggy bank's finally been broken, and here we are.
Linda was on the bus parade, accidentally dropped it off the side. It's gone everywhere. Yeah. What I'll ask you then is, it's mad from a Liverpool side, and I think from the rest of the footballing world, when the news broke 2 days ago that Newcastle were going to table a bid for Ekatike, it was above the 70 mil that had been rejected previously by another club. I wonder if their fan base thought, oh my God, a bit like what we're doing now. This is what big clubs do. I wonder if they thought that, or I wonder if a couple of them was like, right, well, should I be worried here?
If my social media is anything to go by, no. They very much thought it was a big play. And it could
be. They could get both for all we know.
I agree to your point, because I've seen the social media stuff, obviously, but I do wonder if, even at the back of some of their minds, they're thinking, well, hang on a minute, does this mean, does this mean their nightmare scenario is about to become real? I do think also, there's a smorgasbord of fans on social media Newcastle-wise, but there's others who probably aren't on it as well. Maybe some were thinking, or some that have just kept quiet and not said anything, because they might be thinking, do you know what, this might mean Isak is off, because that's been their worst fear all along, hasn't it? Of course.
Dan, if Liverpool spent 110 million or 80 million pound next week on a right winger, we'd have all been thinking, especially last summer, we'd all
I'm going to say, if you weren't Premier League champions, then you'd panic. You'd panic.
Does that mean Mo Salah's going?
Of course you'll have. We had it with Alisson to a certain aspect, with Mamashvili. Because when we didn't know what that transfer looked like and the fact he was going to go back, when we were heavily linked to Mamashvili, I think a lot of us went, does that mean Alisson's off? You know what I mean? It's a similar conversation. Of course it is. And it's inevitable, because you've got your superstar, you love your superstar, you fell in love with him, he's done everything for you, he's been remarkable for you, like Isak has for Newcastle. And all of a sudden and especially when, I love Newcastle as a football club, nowhere near as much Liverpool, clearly, but they are a great football club.
Yep.
But
great
with all due respect, they've got lots of positives. They absolutely dismantled us in the Carabao Cup final. With all due respect to them, they haven't been, and they can't really be in the market of signing £80 million players just for the fun of it, just as backups. You know what I mean? It's just not. And the two up top thing, fine. I know that he did it with Marmoush at Frankfurt. Isak's different. That's not going to work. It doesn't fly with me. Then there's conversations about changing the formation. Their strength is the midfield. That's what's made them the team that they were last season, as well as Isak's goals, obviously. So, yeah, I imagine some Newcastle fans would have been panicking on that news, to be honest with you, because they're only 12 months removed from them doing all kinds of mad deals to get around PSR. 12 months later, they're in a better situation, but they can't just be splashing cash for the fun of it.
The PSR is fine. But
fine, there's a difference between fine and signing £80 million
I think they can afford... No, that's the point. And also, I don't think Hugo Ekitike is going to Newcastle to be a backup. If he's going to move anywhere this summer, he's going to want to go and play. And that'll be the same if he comes to Liverpool. If he comes to Liverpool, he'll want to be the number 9 and he'll want to play every game. And that's still a possibility. There's every possibility Isak stays and we get Ekitike. But when I saw that they were going to sign Ekitike, and it was like, well, you're going to play alongside him, I was like, okay, I'd be interested to see how that works because their midfield 3 is awesome. It's fabulous.
Ridiculous.
And they've
enviable in a way. Ours is boss, but theirs is...
It's as good as anything in Europe. I think it's brilliant. That they've got. And then they've got Gordon, and then they've just signed Alanga.
They've got Harvey Barnes there as well.
More so those two. He's going to... And again, I don't think Alanga's leaving Newcastle not to play. Leaving Forest not to play Newcastle. So, the jigsaw didn't quite make sense to me. Fair play to them. If they had maybe... convinced Ekitike to come and be a rotational player. Fair play, you've done some good work there. But
then you're asking Isak to be a rotational player as well, in the same breath. You are absolutely spot on what you say, because if they have done that to Ekitike and he's gone, do you know what, I quite like the project, I quite like the look of St James's Park, whatever, then great. But then you've also got to tell Alexander Isak, by the way, we're bringing in this lad for £80 million. He's really highly regarded. It's a World Cup year, so he wants to get in that France squad as well, so he's going to need to play as well. Hope you don't mind dropping your minutes by 500 a season or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Can I say something as well? Yeah. And I saw Josh Williams put this tweet out, and I thought it was really, really well put. He was, and it sounds tongue in cheek, but it's not. It's more like, if you are going to lose Alexander Isak, Ekitike, getting
Ekitike, the same build.
Well, getting Ekitike now for £80 million is really smart business. Like, they should credit to them if that's the plan they've gone and maybe enacted. Then fair play to them. Like, that makes a lot of sense. It would do so. Yeah, it's a mad one. I go back to it. It feels like Liverpool have had a nod and a wink that there might be something here. Yep. Because, and I understand they've gone to Newcastle and said he's not for sale, but to make that formal approach almost like you can do that through back channels. Like, you don't have, that doesn't become common knowledge really. So it feels like there might be some legs in it. I hope there is. Like I say, I think if you name the top 5 strikers in Europe, I think he's in it.
Yeah.
He might be
number 1.
Might be at the top.
He might be.
In terms of finishing,
maybe. I mean, Haaland is.
I'd have Haaland on finishing personally, but I think all around player.
Sorry, I forgot he was a footballer.
Haaland's a unicorn, and like you've still got.
I didn't really see much of him last year though. So
when it comes to just purely putting the ball in the back of the net, I've got Haaland, but just in terms of what a centre forward offers and brings, I think Isak's might be the one.
Just so silky with what he does.
He's brilliant. He's excellent. Like, if you name all top, he's comparable to all of these. You know, your Lewandowskis and your Kanes and your Haaland. He's in that level of play. For me, I think he's unbelievable. Which is why Newcastle are desperate to keep hold of him. And so they should be. Their fans would be devastated, I'm sure they would, if he wants to go. But purely from a Liverpool point of view, I saw reports out the North East saying this is Liverpool maybe trying to unsettle the player. Maybe it is. Maybe, and it's you know what? It's shit when that happens to your team, and we hate it happening, but like, the game's the game. So we'll see how it all pans out. I can see you scrolling through something.
Sorry, Romano. This is going back 15 minutes or so, but it's about Luis Diaz. Romano, basically Liverpool. So Luis Diaz remains open to leaving Liverpool this summer if a good proposal arrives. And it's mentioned both Bayern Munich and Barcelona are going to try again because they're in direct contacts with his agents. So what we spoke about before, really, the Diaz stuff does feel very live in terms of the exit. So it makes sense. Like I say, it all makes sense. He wants to go. It'll be interesting to see if Alexander Isak, if a statement comes out like Isak wants to, we haven't heard that yet, have we?
No.
We've kind of heard he'd be open.
He'd be open.
He'd be open.
Liverpool open to doing a deal for 120 mil.
Your point, Claire, your point, Steve, about Liverpool don't really do this sort of thing publicly unless there's some legs. We might have done in the past. I'm sure there'll be examples.
Caicedo was the only one where we got shafted.
We don't like looking stupid. Is kind of the point. At that point, there was different people in charge, different people were running the ship. At that point,
and they'd also been told by an agent, by all accounts, that he'd be up for it if you throw the dough.
You're led down the garden path a little bit. It feels like on that one. This doesn't happen to Liverpool often. It's fair to say.
FPL Vert has actually got a decent question here. If Ekitike was rejected for 70 mil, does that not make Isak worth the 120? And that's exactly what I think.
He's probably worth, let's say,
he's worth probably 150 closer.
I was going to say, they might say 120 is not enough.
Yeah.
And what are Liverpool willing to go to is the factor. Because I agree, he's worth whatever, he's worth anything. Like, there's no, he is, because he's so valuable to Newcastle and their project. They want to build a team to be Premier League European champions. That is the aim. The Saudis haven't come into Newcastle to mess about. They want to make them a new super club. The same as what happened at the takeover of Manchester City. The same as the takeover that happened at PSG. The Saudis will be looking at those from and thinking, the Abu Dhabi, they've done it there, and the Qataris have done it there. We would like to do that at Newcastle. So selling Isak for them, they don't need to sell Alexander Isak. It's just whether, if he kicks off, or if he says, listen, no matter what, I'm not signing a new contract. I'm going, whether it's this year, next year, the year after, and they say, well, do we take the money now and buy? They've got a replacement. By all accounts, you would quite like to go there. So, yeah, it's fascinating to see how Newcastle respond to this.
Yeah, Brian said we must have got word Isak wants to leave, otherwise why bid for him? Wirtz wanted Liverpool, so that deal could be sorted. Newcastle flat out said not for sale, so we must know something to even get involved in it, which I think is a really good point. The other thing that I want to point out is they did go for Ekitike. Could they have been, this little game that we're all playing? Could they? Liverpool are in the market for a number 9. Ekitike is one of the names rumoured. Could they have basically put it on our toes as well and gone, fucking shoes, because you can't come for Alexander Isak in the last month of the window where we're going all the way round and all the strikers have gone off the market, even the likes of João Pedro and things who weren't for sale or on the market, like Gyökeres, Sesko, they were all going. So maybe Newcastle have done this for a slight domino effect as well, to basically say to Liverpool, make your mind up which ones you want. But not just that, but it's kind of forced Liverpool's hand in a slight way at the fact that we might not be able to get Alexander Isak, but if this happens quicker, the more Newcastle can calm down and then get on with the contract talks with him, where if it went round in circles for a little while and we didn't know what was happening, that's no benefit to Newcastle, is it?
No, not at all. No, and it's plausible that Newcastle have put it on our toes a little bit, but by all accounts,
but we've put it right back on.
I was going to say Liverpool's response to that has been, all right then, you want to test us, we'll just come and we'll try and unsettle your main guy and see if he fancies coming to Anfield, and if not, we'll just go and take Ekitike anyway. Like Liverpool, again, are acting like the biggest and best club in the country in that respect. So, yeah, if Newcastle trying to play Liverpool at Liverpool's game feels a bit silly to me.
Do you know Hughes and Edwards?
Exactly, yeah. And listen, Newcastle are clearly operating in a very smart way in the market, generally speaking, it's fair to say. But this is Liverpool. And not only is this Liverpool as Premier League champions, this is Liverpool with, as you mentioned, probably the gold standard when it comes to recruitment. So, yeah, good luck, lads.
It's worth mentioning, Chloe, like Luke Edwards said, this is Liverpool's ultimate power play. And he's an off-east reporter, so maybe that's the sense that that's coming out of Newcastle, perhaps. It could just be, like I say, it could be Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, playing a bit of 4D chess here. Of basically saying, give us Isak or we'll take Ekitike. And I understand from a Newcastle point of view, it could be a case of, sound have Ekitike then, that's great. But they clearly wanted to go Ekitike, so is this Liverpool almost putting on Newcastle's toes of, you either give us your best player or you give us the guy you were about to spend the club record fee on? It could be, you can look at it both ways. It could be Newcastle, like you say, prompting Liverpool to make a bid for Ekitike so they can keep Isak, but that feels less likely than Richard Hughes just going, we've seen now, the reports have come through, we've heard through the grapevine, you're in for Ekitike, here's the chance for us to strike, because before you've signed Ekitike, we'll just take him. And that feels very big boyish to do that, you know what I mean? And then maybe they've had assurances from the Ekitike camp that he wouldn't mind a move to Liverpool either. But yeah, it is a little bit, it's Liverpool putting the big boy pants on. There are very few clubs in the world bigger than Liverpool. It's happened to us. Real Madrid have sometimes put the big boy pants on us and gone, listen, we're having your player. And we're going to tell him not to sign a new contract, and he's coming to us.
One way or another, this is happening.
Get
used to it.
We're having
it's going to happen again next summer as well.
And there's a very good chance Kanate goes the same route. But yeah, I think Newcastle are getting a little bit like, I don't know if played's the right word, because again, I'll go back to it, they don't have to sell Ekitike. Sorry, they don't have to sell Isak, and they don't have to sign Ekitike. But it does feel like a very smart timing for Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, whoever, to go in for Isak now. I don't think that's by accident. It puts a lot more pressure on Newcastle to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, it does. And like being reported, Liverpool have communicated that they will do a deal for around 120 million, and now it is up to Newcastle. Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool have the bid ready for Alexander Isak, but they're waiting for Newcastle's decision in the next hours/days, but it cannot be too long that they've got to wait. So, you expect this to either be shut down in the next couple of days or it be over the line, really, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I think that'll all centre around the conversation that Newcastle have to have with Alexander Isak and his entourage and his representatives, and sort of see how the land lies when it comes to him. Has he had his head turned by this Liverpool talk and speculation, or is he still 100% committed to the cause? And what's interesting for me, lots of it actually, what stemmed from some of this last night and some of the North East reports in particular, I think Luke Edwards and maybe Lee Ryder were discussing, there's a lot of confidence earlier on in the summer that he was just going to sign a new deal. That seems to have waned somewhat. I'm not entirely sure why, but I know Paul Mitchell left the football club, didn't he? I think he might have been sort of spearheading that particular charge at one point. That fell flat somewhat. So they've gone from, he's definitely staying, he's going to sign a new contract, to being like, well, new contract stuff stalled. And Liverpool are now at the table. Liverpool have sort of showed our hat, if you like, and said we are willing to do this deal. So, yeah, I think we will know a lot more in the next 48 hours, probably by the weekend, whether this is possible or not.
I think also Liverpool maybe got themselves in a position where they've gone, yes, we're in for a striker. We're going for the number one, the big fish now. And if he's not there, we're doing it now because Ekitike might still be on the table. If Liverpool had just allowed Ekitike to go to Newcastle, they might have lost. They might be number 1 and 2 on the list. We don't really know what the list looks like.
It probably were for what it's worth.
It probably is. Yeah. So Liverpool have had to do this now, almost of test the waters, see if we can get Alexander Isak, push the button on that one. If it doesn't work, there's still time for us to pivot, because you mentioned before the striker market, it is depleting somewhat. The Gyökeres to Arsenal thing looks like it's nearly done. It appears Osimhen isn't miles away from going back to Turkey. It appears, like I say, that Rodrygo, that our mate Ekitike was close to joining Newcastle. Liverpool might have found themselves without options. Yeah. So they've had to go now. It feels like best case scenario for us. The best case is you get Alexander Isak. Yeah. And at this point in time, it feels the worst case is they maybe move for Ekitike, and I think that's fine. Like he's not as good as Isak, of course he isn't, and it might feel like a slight downgrade. It would be, but that isn't a bad place to be. For Newcastle now, they've gone from their position of we want both of them. Yeah. So we're probably only going to have one of them. Yeah. Who's in the lead or who's got the upper hand in this? That's hard to say, but it does feel like Liverpool are going to get one of those two players, and Newcastle are going to be left with one or the other, and not the both that they want.
Yes, and that is really interesting. I'm just asking, is this live viewers now? If so, that is a joke. We've got near 2,000 people live with us. Please do hit the like button. Get in the comment section. Tell us hi. Tell us where you're from. I hated whatever that was that he did there.
The other 1,900 or whatever people, I'm not talking to them. I'm just talking to you. You watching now. Just you. Press the like button.
Thank you so much. And, if you think the excitement's over, we've got another 10 minutes and we're talking about another attacking player. I was going to do 2 seconds on Rashford, but no one's asked.
That Rashford, can we just say the Rashford stuff now? Daily Mail reporting Liverpool are interested in Marcus Rashford. I would eat my hat.
That was 15 seconds too long on Marcus Rashford. Let's move on.
Let's move.
Listen, no. Oh. £300,000, no. Mank, no. Why are we doing Man United any favours? No. No.
The footballer, no.
He's fine.
Not anymore.
He's absolutely
He lifted a leg for half an hour.
I feel we've wasted a minute of our time.
He is absolutely okay. And that's it. No. I would not. I'd keep Chiesa.
There's a certain policy at Liverpool that I'd like us to uphold.
Yeah.
And he does not fit into it. Let's move on.
People listen to me. We've got people from London, people from Lancashire, Hull.
We're going exotic here,
Hong Kong.
Thanks, Randy Robbo.
We're going there.
Oh, there you go, Hong Kong.
We'll see you Sunday. Yeah. Monday morning.
And someone's just put Man United in the mud. Yeah, okay. Milton Keynes. Oh, wow.
Oh, we're all Milton Keynes. Oh,
Edinburgh.
Big roundabout.
We've got Australia,
nice
Preston.
Lovely.
Some classic people here.
We absolutely love it. We've got, oh my God, this chat's going mad. The Netherlands, Malta, Belfast, Sweden. I'm trying my hardest. Sydney, Liverpool. Well, there you go.
Let's end on that one.
Right, thanks so much. The chats are going. Rodrygo, I'll bring them up as these talk, not when I. Rodrygo then.
Mm-hmm.
A name that's been mentioned quite a few times. I've never actually took any notice into it until yesterday, and this comes from Dario.
What was that?
I don't know.
Did you just malfunction?
No,
Dario,
I just didn't know. Like, it's clear. It's obviously a Spanish newspaper, and I'm like, that's not correct what I've said, but we're going with it.
Dario is correct.
Right, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh well, I've nailed that then.
No,
Thank
you didn't.
No.
You absolutely didn't. You did the opposite.
There's people from Liverpool in the chat show. Liverpool will push firmly for the signing of Rodrygo. LFC is set to send a representative in the coming days to begin official contracts, but prioritise the departure of Luis Diaz, who has his days numbered before going all in for the Brazilian. And then it was followed on from Eduardo Burgos. I'm going to go with that.
Sounds mate.
Correct.
Liverpool have sent, or will send someone to Madrid. They're ahead of Arsenal and Chelsea. Bayern and obviously Barca plan to enter the race for Diaz. The Canate and Rodrygo's deals will not be dependent on the player. Madrid wants the centre-back, but Rodrygo is valued at €100 million, and the Reds want to negotiate that figure. I mean, it excites me. It really does. I haven't seen loads of him. He's the forgotten, I say this, forgotten man, but it's because he's not Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. or Jude Bellingham in a team full of superstars. But Arda Güler's just been starting like mad, and it seems like Xabi Alonso really likes him. I mean, he is slightly the forgotten man, but at the same time, I think a lot of people understand that he's actually a really good footballer.
Yeah, no, he's a sensational footballer. Absolutely is, yeah. And it's interesting, obviously, the passing of the torch from Ancelotti to Xabi Alonso might have meant a new lease of life or new opportunity potentially for him, but it doesn't look to be that way. He's still getting minutes, he's getting look-ins, but he's not getting anything like a player of his quality might want, and that's not anything because of his quality or because of his output, his performances necessarily. It's just the pecking order, as you kind of alluded to there moments ago. So yeah, I think he's a wonderful footballer. I think Diaz, if we can get the sort of feed that we're looking for, certainly if it is an unsettled Luis Diaz who may be looking to force away out of Liverpool and bring in Rodrygo with somewhat of a straight swap, I think it's really good business actually. A few years younger, I think 4 years younger in total, can certainly play across the front line, predominantly from the right. So you might even get a little bit of a Mo Salah understudy there somewhere along the way, which I think we're going to need when AFCON comes around. Certainly operates from the left a lot too, can play central roles. We've spoken about the need for maybe an understudy, possibly somebody else to play as the 9. Dieza's future remains uncertain as well. So yeah, I think Rodrygo as a profiler footballer makes a lot of sense to Liverpool. And if the money's right and you can get the money and bring it all back in for Diaz and go and get him, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's... How much do you reckon Liverpool will have to spend on Rodrygo? Do you reckon it'll be more than what we get for Luis Diaz?
It's really tough to say, isn't it? Probably, I would guess. But yeah, Dan's right. Listen, if you sell Luis Diaz for £70 million and you spend £90 million, whatever, on Rodrygo, I think everyone would be happy with that one. It's interesting because he is that, there's been talk of a versatile forward. That has been bandied about a lot. That is him. He plays mainly on the right, but he's played loads up front. Yeah. He's played loads on the left as well. So he's absolutely that. I mentioned before about upgrades to Luis Diaz, and you'd be struggling for it. I think we'd probably class Rodrygo as one that we'd probably say, yeah, he's at least level, probably better than Luis Diaz. I always get slight concerns of buying players from Real Madrid, because usually Real Madrid keep all the best ones. That is a little bit of a red flag that I get from him, and why are they letting him go? Again, is he kicking off loads? I know they've got tons of players. They've got a brilliant team, and obviously once they signed Mbappe, something had to give. Yeah. It appears that maybe it is the idea of maybe letting Rodrygo move on, but yeah, I didn't put much credence into it. But when you start to see more, reputable sources from Spain mooting the idea, maybe there is something in it. And like I say, what a summer that could be if Liverpool signed Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak and Rodrygo in the same summer. If you just told me that 12 months ago, I'd say it's more likely that I grow a mullet. And I assure you, I am not growing any mullets anytime soon. So it feels like that is more... The fact that it's even a possibility, it just shows maybe a change of tact in the market for Liverpool.
Yeah. That
they're happy to go and do this. That as well, we didn't spend last summer because we wanted this war chest, for lack of a better phrase, to spend this year. We're losing players. We're the champions of England. And I don't know if it's been said enough, we've just signed Salah and Van Dijk to 2-year deals. There is no messing around for Liverpool. In the next 2 years, go and mine, sweep the trophies. Don't worry about the massively down the line. Go and get the best players now. You don't need to go and buy the 20-year-old who eventually takes over from Mo Salah. Go and buy players who help Mo Salah win the Champions League and help Mo Salah win the league again and help Virgil van Dijk lift more trophies, because that time period on them two is relatively short. Yeah. So go and buy the best players you can get now. And it appears like this one could be on the cards, and maybe Liverpool are doing similar to Newcastle with Ekitike, really. Can we line something for Rodrygo in case the Diaz bid we decide to do? Maybe it's that.
Just quickly on that, you're right about the win now strategy policy, but Rodrygo actually falls into both camps. You know what I mean? He could be your win now. You get your versatile forward who can play across the front line. He can supplement all of them. But also, if Salah does, who knows what the end of his contract looks like now, if he does move on to pastures new, you've got a 26-year-old right winger, essentially. You know what I mean? So you are ready to go straight off the get-go. So it makes sense in loads of different ways to Liverpool, this one.
And also for the champions to, if you can start next season with a front three of Salah, Rodrygo, Isak, I mean, that's a joke.
That's
I
thought Diaz, Salah, Nunez, and at the time Jota was a ridiculous front three. To think about adding more pace onto that, I think Diaz is good, but I think there is improvements on him. I did think there was an improvement in the number 9 position, and with Nunez now going as well, I think that's even bigger. So, scary. When you also factor in, you've got Florian Wirtz in behind.
I forgot that. I didn't even mention him.
Is someone messing me? You've got Maka, Gravenberch, Sobbo in some sort of rotation behind Florian Wirtz, and then you've got Virgil. And at the moment, Canate. But you've got Kerkers, Frimpong. I mean, is anyone defending in this team?
Well, no, potentially not. We'll deal with that when the time comes. We've got Alisson Beckham goal, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's and a giant Mamdashvili is understudy as well. It is a super team, isn't it? And it is an all-out attack, essentially. Gravenberch's 6 credentials are really going to be put to the test this time around, aren't they? But yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. To Steve's point about Real Madrid not selling, I do think we've seen a slight change in that particular approach from them, because they've sold Martin Odegaard, who I think maybe wasn't quite fancied, similar to Rodrygo, you know what I mean? They've gone, well, we can't give him what he needs here, so on you go, and he's not a bad footballer, is he?
Even Real Madrid, after...
Did they not get rid of Ozil?
Exactly, yeah. But La Liga have really clamped down. Yeah,
Ozil, I thought Ozil was...
Yeah, La Liga have really clamped down on their sort of rules and regs. We've seen Barcelona fall foul of that a few times. So I do think there is a case of you can just go and sign really good footballers from Real Madrid now, and Liverpool might well do that.
The other thing, everyone in the comments, to be fair, it's being quite split. I'm seeing a couple of people who aren't sold on the idea, but a couple of people who are mentioning the fact that he can play along all of the front 3 positions. And Ennis says here, he can play in different positions in attack, and while Salah is at AFCON, he can cover the right wing as well, which I think is massive for us, because we were using Diaz at one point at right wing in his time. It was probably against Arsenal in the FA Cup. He did quite well.
Oxlade Chamberlain's done that in the past. To have somebody of Rodrygo's quality, and we spoke about Frimpong doing it, and that's fine.
And also, Danny, he can play centre forward. Yeah. So if you are, I know, listen, the tragic news with Diogo, and we're going to sell Darwin Nunez. Liverpool actually don't have a 9 if they do that. So if they are going to buy Alexander Isak, and then Rodrygo's your backup for Alexander Isak, but also he's a backup who can play either side as well. It's better than putting Luis Diaz there, because Luis Diaz was a makeshift centre forward. Rodrygo can play centre forward. He's played centre forward more than he's played on the left, so he can do that job as well. So all of a sudden, it makes your squad depth a little bit stronger in that regard, because the manager has been so hesitant to put Cody Gakpo up front. He obviously doesn't fancy him there no matter what. So if you are going to sell Darwin, you're probably going to have to have 2. I don't know what the word is, viable centre forwards, and not just makeshifts. And Rodrygo, I think, yes, his best position is probably on the wing still, but he's a better centre forward than Luis Diaz is a centre forward.
Just quickly on Liverpool sort of general business and how wild it all seems, but it does seem wild because it's not something we've become particularly accustomed to, and we are, again, acting like the best club in the country. The one glaring tie over the course that was PSG. And I know PSG have just been humbled somewhat in that Club World Cup final, but kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But they, when you watch them, they were so dynamic. They were so quick.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of me, as brilliant as Liverpool were last season, there was a little bit of me going, when it comes to the Champions League, how do we reach that level? You know what I mean? Like, what do we need to do in order to stop PSG, essentially? Because to my mind, they look nailed on to win this Champions League coming, possibly the next one after that, because they're so young, dynamic, fresh, good, ultimately. That might have changed somewhat in the past week or so, but whatever. But now, all of a sudden, if Liverpool do go out and do half of the business that we're talking about here, I do have as a match for anyone in Europe, you know what I mean? The Premier League will be favourites for that, no doubt about it. But all of a sudden, the Champions League conversation becomes more viable as well.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I just want to quickly mention and a couple of questions that just quick fires, don't worry, to end this. Dave Powell said, based on Liverpool's net plus PSR position and assuming profit from the 24-25 season expected, then using the example of a 20 mil profit plus allowable deductions and 105 mil PSR limit, which none of this goes into my head. I'm hoping it's understood by someone else. LFC could still lose more than 200 million in 25-26 and be PSR compliant after Isak, Vert, Kerkez, Frimpong and Mamadashvili.
So basically what he's saying is if Liverpool signed Isak, they could still have another 200 million to spend and be PSR compliant. Now cash is different than PSR, but it's worth mentioning Liverpool could end this window with all these superstars, but their net spend might still be relatively, relatively low. It could be like £200 million or whatever, which is a lot of money, but they're going to sell Elliott, they're going to sell Nunez, they've sold Kwanzaa.
Elliott,
they're going to sell Tyler Morton. There's ways that Liverpool can make some of this back. So it's highly exciting and doable by all accounts. The numbers suggest it's all doable, which is the main thing.
One of the left backs will probably go as well. You imagine one. What we get for them remains to be seen, but there will be money coming in for them as well.
Right, I'm going to read the super chat out, but before I do, here are the questions to be prepared. First of all, will Rodrygo be a Liverpool player? If so, how much?
Why didn't we do this for Isak?
Because we didn't.
No, we didn't. No.
Well, this is why.
Okay.
Excuse-moi, s'il vous plaît. Could you give me a second? And I asked them in the break, do we sign both? Do we sign one or do we sign none? And there is your last one. About Alexander Isak, you can add in how much the fee is for him as well. Now, whilst you mull over that, Collins has sent in a super chat. Thank you so much for that. He says, morning from steamy Texas. I am so incredibly excited for the season to start. I want to win it all in Jota's name. Hope you're all staying cool and doing great. Have a good one. Up the fucking Reds. You'll never walk alone. I hope we win it all for Jota as well. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. So have I gave you long enough?
I said we're not going to sell Diaz, so therefore I'll say we won't sign Rodrygo.
Okay.
I think we will sign Alexander Isak.
And how much?
130-ish.
I reckon 135, but you can.
Okay. I said, I was going to say the opposite actually of what he said, because I said we are selling Diaz. I'm going to say we're going to sign both. Because why not?
I love yours.
Well, I'm just saying things on the internet. It makes no odds to anybody whatsoever what I think. So, we'll sign both. On Isak's price, I'm going to say 130 with add-ons to rise to 150. Yeah.
Oh.
That's how I'd phrase that. Your Ballon d'Or, Champions League, Premier League successes and what have you. And then Rodrygo price, if we get 75 for Diaz, we'll have to spend upwards. We'll say 80. Just 80.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm not going to lie, that might be the most fun, the most exciting Liverpool transfer show that you're going to get. And I apologise for the future ones because they're not probably going to get as good as that.
Unless we actually sign them. That'd be better.
But they'll just be low. We might just sack off the transfer pod for that and just do loads. Yeah.
Party.
Someone did say if we signed Alexander Isak, their kecks would not come off their head, and I reckon that'd be
ever. It's a long time to have your kecks on your head.
Yeah, it is. But fair play to them.
Can I ask? Did he go straight from legs to head? Or is it a fresh pair? Oh. Because
it does have the same impact if they're fresh. If you have to go into your drawer to get your kecks out and then put one in, if they're
agreed, but also you're putting your sweaty arse.
Do you know what would be worse though? If it was in Hong Kong and you had to do it because there's sweating over in Hong Kong.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah,
leave your pants on in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Please do that.
Someone from Hong Kong in the chat, tell me if that's necessary or not.
On that note,
in the comments.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Have a lovely rest of your week, and until the next one, up the Reds.